I must say, in some part of the world, a young lady somewhere is being sexually harassed or abused. Is it that taking place here in Nigeria, in Africa, in India, or even in America? It's not particular to a continent. It happens anywhere. Even in India recently, we saw the women coming up with placards and saying, enough is enough. How do we deal with this? And how can we put a stop to this? This is Omoté. It's another special edition on the program, and we're discussing a very serious topic that has to do with sexual abuse. We have here in the studio two survivors. Yes, as they will call themselves, they are survivors. They've been through that phase, and they are here to share their story. Join me as I welcome Miss Dorothy Ndidi. Welcome to the show, Miss Dorothy. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you. And well, a familiar face, I must say. Mrs. Antonia Ojenabo. Did I get the surname correctly? I did it again. I did? Yes. Welcome to the show. Thank you. We are glad to have you here at Omoté. Omoté is a special show for the young woman, as you know, is a name for a young woman or a young unmarried woman. Some people say a girl. Well, you're not a girl, whether single or not, you're still a young lady. So, we're discussing issues that affect a young woman. Please stay with us, don't go anywhere. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for staying with us. This is still Omoté. And as mentioned earlier, we're talking about sexual abuse. And this is one issue that has affected a lot of young unmarried women. Some of them don't know how to go about it. Some of them actually have stopped being in relationships because of that fear, that phobia of old men like that. Maybe it's coming to harass me. And you are survivors, you've been through this. Let's start with you, Dorothy. As a young woman, because this show is for young unmarried women, she is married, she will share her story. Our own story has a role to play, but as a single person, can you please tell us what has it been like having to relive this whole thing? I know you've gone past that stage, which is why you're talking about it, but we need to get to that phase.
Okay, so for me, I was sexually abused at the age of 6 by my cousin, and it happened for about 4 years, from 6 to 10. And then I went on to live with someone else, and I was abused again for another 4 months. And aside that, I could count extra for 6 guys that molested me sexually. And then at the age of 20, I realized I had STD. So it was tough for me. And like you said, there was a time I didn't like guys. You wouldn't touch me because I was irritated by touch, by sense of smell or anything. Names can also cause trigger for me. So it was really a tough time dealing with it and coming to where I am today.
Wow. If you watch me, I was smart and good.
I know that.
Sincerely. We'll come back to your story. While I'm trying to digest that, Mrs. Antonia, please tell us. We've heard your story before. Just give us a brief summary. What was the experience like as a young woman before you got married?
Okay, I was molested at the age of 12 by my uncle, like you know. And it affected me mentally. The first thing he did was I hated men. I didn't want to marry. Now I wanted to leave my uncle's house, and the only thing I knew that could take me out of that house, because my dad was late and there was nowhere to go to. My family is a small family. I needed to get married. So I was looking for an available guy who was looking for a wife. And I was going to marry him, not because I loved him.
And dump your luggage on him.
Yes. And I was going to kill him at some point in the marriage. Yes. I already made up my mind that I will spend the rest of my life in jail, but I was going to kill him.
Tell me you're kidding.
I'm very serious, because a man did this to me. I was going to kill one man. Yes, so I had that at the back of my mind. But you know, God has the way of twisting the plots. You know, so I met this guy who is an only son, who is the only child of his mother.
If you kill the mother would die too.
Yes, and you know, he was born and brought up in the church. You know, just the way Samuel. Yes, he was mentally stable. Not knowing that. Yes, not knowing that he's going to marry somebody who has an ulterior motive.
I'm telling you.
Now, because he really loved me, he's tolerated me all this while. I say he's because we're still married till date. So I grew up loving him. You know, even when I will begin to throw tantrums, like the first night of the wedding, I didn't allow him to touch me. I begged him and I said that, please, can you do me a favor? Can we live like brother and sister?
You want to live like brother and sister? Why did you get married?
Yeah, but he said yes.
You're kidding.
Yes, he agreed. You know, he agreed. And we were living like that for some time until he said to me, Tony, I'm not your brother.
No.
Then he realized that I needed counseling
Mm.
because I would not even allow him as much as change in front of me. I made all my rules. You change in the bathroom. No, not you change in the bathroom. You tie your towel to the bathroom. You come out with your towel. I must not see you naked.
Oh.
Yes, and we were legally married. Yes, so the world saw us and thought that we were living like husband and wife.
Oh, then you got like roommates.
Yeah, yes, we're flatmates. Yes.
Flatmate, that's the expression.
Yes, because nothing was happening until he spoke to his pastor friend and I had to go for counseling. Even that first night, it was the battle because I still gave my rules. You must not hug me. You must not touch me. Once you're done, you get up, you tie your towel. I do not want to see you naked. The lights must be off. And when we sleep on the same bed,
Your body must not touch me.
yes, I gave all those rules and he agreed.
So you were ready to cuddle?
No.
Ah, look at the shackle.
Yes, yes.
Are you kidding?
I'm serious. And he complied with all those rules. You know, I was praying for him not to comply, so I had a reason to fight. Yes. But you see, as stringent as those rules were, he kept to them, you know. But I had to go through therapy and counseling along the line. You know, at the point I wanted to leave him because I felt that, wow, this guy is a nice guy.
I shouldn't do this
Yes,
to him.
I shouldn't do this to him. I don't deserve him. You know, so I used to tell him, I said, if it were the time of Sarah and Abraham, I'd have married your wife for him. Yes.
Look at that. Oh, your story is so touching. Can you imagine? Well, we'll be coming to that. There's so much more to learn today. You just heard that story. Just hold on. So much to talk about. We'll be going on a quick break. Please stay with us. Don't touch that. I'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. I'm sure if you're just joining us, this is still Omoté. And we're talking about a special topic today, which is sexual harassment, sexual abuse, not sexual harassment, sexual abuse. And as I mentioned earlier, we have two survivors in the studio, and they've shared their stories. If you missed it, please just stay tuned. We're still going to share more from that. So Dorothy, I'm going to ask a question. I don't want us to dwell too much on the past because we'll be coming on to moving forward, how you moved on. I mean, was there anybody in your life that played a role that you needed to talk to when you were experiencing all of it? Because yours was not just once, not twice, multiple times. You didn't have anybody, was there anybody in your life to talk to?
Well, I couldn't talk to anyone. There were people around, but I felt they wouldn't believe me. I was saying, oh, you're lying, you're trying to get away. Even when I was falling sick all the time, I had PID, you know, a lot of things were going wrong. And people were like, oh, you're just pretending, you don't want to work. So I kept quiet. And I had this fear that nobody was going to believe me, so I didn't talk to anyone. Until recently. Last year, and then I went through therapy, and I was able, I'm still in the process of healing because it's not a one-time thing.
No.
Considering the damage it had done,
Yeah.
so it's been one step at the other. Yeah.
But you're going out to speak about it has really helped you so far.
Yes, honestly, speaking about it, I felt that, okay, when I go out to talk to people about it, it gave me some sense of healing, some sense of self-worth, because when I'm done, people say, oh, that was nice, or I'm going through it the same way. I'm like, okay, so I'm not the only
You're
one
not the
here.
only one.
And I can actually use my story to help other people heal. And I think that was a major step for me. So helping other people heal, as long as I talk to you, you feel better. I just think, okay, that's a very good step to do.
Okay, what's this word about? Because sometimes people will tell you it's going on, even though it sounds very, very insulting to the woman, to the young woman. The first question some persons will ask, what did you go to his house to do? You were sexually abused. What were you doing there? Okay, you dressed in a provocative manner. You know this word I'm going recently.
Yeah.
Why you dressed that way? Somebody posted something on social media recently and said, this is how people will dress. Later you said they are harassing you sexually. And people came for him seriously. You know, people
There's no
Nigerians,
excuse.
they're not taking
Yes.
it lightly these days.
There's no excuse for
And very
sexual violence.
recently, you know of the story, a young man, a married lady came out to say somebody abused her sexually some years ago. And he just got married and wanted to move on with his life.
That's the story I was telling you that you said you did go through.
He lady said, no,
Yes, that's
I'm going to come for you. And it became the story went viral.
Yeah.
And people started talking about
I reached out to her.
Okay,
Yeah.
so please, what's your advice as a young woman? How can a young woman like us, like you, listening to it, have been through this phase, but some of them are still bottling it. You know they don't believe women.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
of societal stigma,
Stigma.
shaming and blaming of the abuse, while the abuser is walking
Free.
like nothing ever happened. It needs to stop. The shame belongs to the abuser. There is no justification for rape. If a woman says no, no means no. It does not make you less a man. It does not reduce you. We need to begin to educate our boys, our sons, our fathers, and our brothers that if a woman says no to your sexual advances, it's just a word, no. And if you force a woman to have sex with her, there's a repercussion, there's a penalty. If the girl is bold enough to talk about it, you can go to prison for 14 years. And like I say to the men, you're not doing any woman a favor by being sexually disciplined. You are actually doing yourself a favor. Yes. Because that 5 minutes of sex can ruin your entire life. Is that what you want? You heard the story about the prof that was asking for sex for maths.
For maths.
You know what it takes to be a professor in Nigeria?
And see what he has to go through.
No, yesterday, ICPC took him to court.
Fantastic.
Just yesterday.
Fantastic.
Now, he's going to lose everything
ever worked
because
for.
of 5 minutes of sex. Why would you do that to yourself? When your grandchildren Google your name 20 years to come, what do you want to come out?
To see.
Do you understand? So think about people who have gone ahead of you, whose sex have landed them in trouble.
I also think that some ladies should own themselves, right? When I was dating my ex, he said to me, "Oh, you can't be going around telling people that you've been raped. How do you want your friends to see me? How do you want my friends to know that, oh, if I end up marrying you, that my wife has been raped?"
Oh, no worries.
And so
I have a story like that too.
so it's about him and not me. So
Yes.
I would have just stopped what I was doing because I wanted to please him, and my life is going to go under.
Yes, your
So
life will be
people
on
should
hold.
stand up for themselves. This is what I want. I was raped, yes, but
Who am
it's
I
not,
now?
it's not under
It's
me.
not what
I have
It doesn't
moved.
define you.
I have moved from that place and I'm in a better place right now, so I can't allow anyone treat me anyhow. And if the guy is not ready for you, then
Should
you
take a walk.
Yes.
Should take a walk.
He should be
Sometimes
able
it's
to
better to be
accept you the
single.
way you are.
Fantastic.
single and you're living a fantastic life than for you to be in a relationship and nothing is going on for you.
Look at that, a final and a fantastic point to go on this break. Please, we're coming back very shortly. It's getting very interesting. Don't go anywhere, please. We'll be back very shortly. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. I guess you've been enjoying yourself and you've learned a whole lot. Moving on quickly, you said something and I need Mrs. Antonia to, I need Mrs. Ojenebo to corroborate that because it's similar to what she has experienced. You talked about being in a relationship and your fiance was trying to shut you down, was trying to shush you from going to advocate, going to speak and talk about your story. Please go ahead, sis. Read it.
I remember the first time I shared my story publicly, which was in my church. And someone walks up to me and she says, "Oh, Tonya, why did you do this? Now the whole world knows that your husband married a used material."
Like, seriously?
Yeah. Then as we got home, my daughter said, "Oh, mommy, someone said, her mom said we can't be friends again because while you were growing up, your uncle was raping you." So I just looked at my daughter and said she was never meant to be your friend. But you see, that day I had to have a conversation with the children. I said, "Are you guys comfortable with what I'm doing?
Okay.
Should I stop?" And my son looks at me and he says, "Mommy, I'm so proud of you. Keep talking." Yes. So I told them, I said,
So
"The day
to
you..."
help people.
Yes, my son said that and he said, "Mommy, we need to help more people who have been sexually abused. That I'm proud of you." So I told them, I said, "The day you tell me to stop talking, I won't talk again." So that bullying is real. And that is the main reason why
Why
a lot of
women
people,
keep quiet?
yes, don't want to talk about it. That's the reason why families especially hide it. Incest is so prevalent in this part of the world. It's horrible. You hear the stories, your ears tingle. By the time it gets out, most of, especially, is the mother of the child that's telling you, "Please, can you kill this story?" Yes.
I'll tell you a quick story that really hurt me. I mean, till date, if I think about it, it hurt me so much. While I was still doing core news, they called us and somebody told us, that there's this young girl that was abused by the neighbor. The young girl lives with a family member. I think it's a mother's sister. The rest, her guidance actually, her guardian. So she was raped. And the woman came out, she was crying. When we came, we were like, okay, we want to do the story. We needed to find out who is the guy. We read. It took us where the guy had been taken to the police station. We asked her we should interview the guy. The police said no, that they had this family issue. The lady was very upset. The lady was very upset that she wants talk to us. Let her call her husband. Let her call her husband. Said that she wait to. She was already ranting and
Yes.
you know she was really upset. Guess what? She called her husband. Wonder. Don't talk to news people though. Don't talk to them.
Yeah.
Guess what? Later she came to me. I said, please, let's not bother. The same woman that was raving in mad just now.
That's it.
She changed all of the same.
Yeah, the story will change immediately.
That her husband said it's a family matter.
Yeah.
But I asked her a question. If that girl was your daughter,
She will do the
would
same
you have
thing.
kept short?
Yes. She will keep short.
Wow.
Yes.
I'm telling you free of charge. She will keep short. In fact, if it's her child, she will over keep short.
And she warned the child never to
Ne-
say it again.
She will keep short.
Then how do we help these young girls?
It's like Dorothy said, we need to begin to own our stories. Like my mother, for instance, does not know that I'm here. Last week, I went to Babcock and I was really heartbroken by the stories I heard. You know, when I came back, my mother was asking me that, this one you are traveling too much. I hope it's not sexual you are doing. That's how she calls it. So because I did not want any trouble, I said, Mama, no, on our business. She said, you are started talking about business too. I said, yes, Mama. And I could see the glow in her face. And she was like, you know, you need to stop talking about this sexual. You know, you are now 40 years old. You know, you now have children. You know, my mother was giving me reasons why I cannot talk about sexual, and that we are a Christian family, you know, and that since I've said I'm forgiving, I should just let it go like that. You know, so you have women in my mother's grade who are workers in church, you know, who are leaders in their own church, who are members of the marriage committee. My mom is among them. So they are the ones shushing this story. So even if you take it to your place of worship, religion and tradition are our biggest problems.
True.
If you take it to your place of worship, either you are a Christian or a Muslim, they are going to shush you because what is most important to them is the name of the religion more than the life of the abused. That's why you see we have a lot of broken women. You know my sadness. You know my sadness. We have a lot of emotionally broken women right now. But my sadness is that the next generation of mothers we are having, we're going to have more mentally and emotionally damaged mothers. With the rate of rape and incest cases we have now.
In Nigeria, it's as if it's every day. You talk to the
every
dailies,
day.
It's like every day.
One out of every 3 girls you meet have been. Oh, can you imagine?
So wait, if we do not talk about it, how can this be dealt with?
Yeah, because we have tried to mystify it to look like something we can't talk about. That's why people like us are talking. A lot of young girls have that.
This we're talking about now is not particular to countries. Just this morning, I was listening to the BBC. I was watching the BBC, and there's a story they did about a woman. I think she's an Egyptian woman. She cried. She did a rant on Facebook, and she said, "You know what? We're tired of sexual harassment." On the day, she was harassed twice. She was sexually harassed twice, and she cried about it and did a rant. Guess what? A few days later, the government officials visited her, and she was taken away. She was arrested. My husband was talking about.
Oh, I saw it. Yes, I saw it
this morning.
I saw it for documenting it.
Yes,
I saw it.
The husband was being interviewed today, the husband and the kids, and we're asking yourself, what is the problem?
Yes, I saw it.
Okay, let's narrow it down to the essence of our show, but we can go on and on and on. What's your advice to an Omoté there watching us right now? A young unmarried woman that has been through this phase and does not have the boldness yet, because she's watching both of you on TV, she'll be like, these women, they get mine though. Yeah. How do I do it? How do I deal with it? Dorothy, tell us, because you're still unmarried, how did you go through this process? And how have you been able to conquer it, and you're here today, sharing your story?
Okay, I think for me, the first thing I did was to own my story, and I knew that it was not my fault. Yes, I was
fantastic.
It wasn't my fault. It wasn't what I was wearing. It wasn't anything.
But young and
I was very young.
Inexperienced.
You know, I went to somewhere to go and speak, and the person said, "So why didn't you report?" When he said it, I was angry and I felt bad. But when I got home, I said, "This guy asking me this question is a graduate. He is in his 30s. When this thing happened to me, I was 6 years old. So I would not blame him because he's really his 30 years old."
I like that. Look at that.
So I decided not to feel bad at all. So for me, I would tell an Omoté that is watching to own her story and to know that it is not her fault. It is not her fault. But regardless of what happened, she should just know that it happened because the other person was, I won't even say that it was the fault of the abuser because you don't know, hurting people hurt people.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
So we now need to
yes.
deal with the person who has hurt the abuser.
Yes.
So the victim and the abuser both need help. So if you're concentrating that, okay, this person is an abuser, or this and that, you're not treating the main issue. So you need to treat the main issue that's happening to both of them.
From the source.
And also seek help. Go for counseling, see a therapist. I had to go for several sessions on therapy. And
what led you to going to see a therapist? What motivated you? Did somebody encourage you to
no
do that?
one encouraged me. My life went from up to down. I was suicidal. Oh yes. I was depressed. I was not myself. I was dying. You know, people say me, oh, you're so pretty, and in me, I'm like, please,
You're not.
where is the next available knife? I need to kill myself. I need to overdose myself. So things were not really going for me, and because I needed to help people, I went into therapy myself. So I'm a therapist. I help people who have gone through that. But even in my being a therapist, I needed to see a therapist. Even the healer needs to be healed.
I've heard of that.
Yeah. So I went to see a therapist. I'm helping people, and I'm also in that journey. So they should own it. Don't be afraid to say, oh, I want to see a shrink. Because in this, no, you don't say you want to see a shrink.
It's Africa.
Have you
It's
gone
a
mad?
mentality.
Yeah, so they think maybe you have gone mad or something is wrong with you, but really it's not them, it's your life. And I told someone last week, I said your life is a book. You determine the last chapter.
Yes.
Can we have a Me Too program or campaign here in Nigeria?
In Nigeria. I wrote something like that on Facebook, and some people were saying, okay, we will do it. Okay, maybe we'll revisit it. But I think the first step to healing is speaking out. You need to speak out. The shame does not belong to the abused. The shame,
that you're lying.
Yes.
Belongs to the abuser.
the shame belongs to the abuser.
Oh yeah.
You're not doing anybody a favor by going for therapy and counseling. For your own mental state, you need to go for healing. You need to go for counseling, not healing. Healing is a journey.
It's a process.
Yes.
And I like the fact that Dorothy owned up that, you know what, I'm a work in progress.
Yes. Well, work
I'm
in
not
progress.
there yet.
Yes.
I'm a work in progress.
Yes, but we're not where we were 10 years
Yeah,
ago.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what? And like you rightly said, you are a survivor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic. This is where we call it today. Thank you so much. I mean, Dorothy, Mrs. Okenobo, I'm so glad you guys came. Thank you for lending a voice, for advocating for the need to ensure that people that have been abused, younger married women, can speak out and do get help. And you already heard what it means, how you can get help. Okay, we're going on a quick break, and when we return, we'll call it a day. Thank you for staying with us. Hold it there. What an amazing session. I mean, I learned a whole lot. It was mind-blowing. And it's as if we should just keep going on and on and on. So as an unmarried woman there, as an Omoté, a younger married woman, if you've gone through this road and you need to go seek for help, please do not hesitate to do so. You've heard all of that. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Ogaga Otautu. We look forward to seeing you same time, same station next week. Always remember that as a young woman, the very essence of living is to enjoy it and live life to the fullest. You are who you are, and you are an Omoté. Have a beautiful week ahead.